It's the Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. Today's it is Friday, March 13th, 2026. This is Sam Vaughn. The Kansas Jayhawks won another tight one over the TCU 78-73. Darren Peterson scores 24 and leads Kansas past TCU 78-73. They don't play tonight until the late game against Houston. This game will tip at 9:30. Players to watch out for: Trey White, Keaton Flemington, and for Kansas, Darren Peterson and Floyd Bagunda. Also, LJ Cryer for Houston is another player to watch out for. This game doesn't get tip again until 9:30. Kentucky and Florida are underway, 18-8, early on in the first half. Missouri was down as many 17 yesterday, but spent all their energy coming back, and Missouri loses another disappointing game as their disappointing season continues, but may squeeze into the NCAA tournament. Anyways, I guess you would call it more frustrating than disappointing. 78-72 was the final. Missouri was on an 8-2 run. Missouri, as I was going to say, probably not supposed to say this, but Missouri likes to screw around and find a way to mess it up. As Missouri just wants to throw the jersey. Missouri loses again, and NCAA tournament hopes wait on the line for Sunday. Other SEC games are Tennessee Vanderbilt 3:30, 25 versus 22. Ole Miss, who beat Texas on the first game, and South Carolina first game, and then Ole Miss beat Georgia again, and Ole Miss plays Alabama tonight at 7 p.m. LeBron Phillipson is a player to watch out for, and AJ Storr. That game begins at 7. And at 9, Oklahoma and Arkansas, players to watch out for. And that game is Darius Akoff and Najee Pack. 9:30. And 8:30. KU's also at 8:30. Let's go back to the Big 12 right there. Back to the Big 12. Houston, Kansas, 9:30, 14 versus 5. In Kansas City, Iowa State, Arizona, 7 seed versus number 2 seed. 7 o'clock. We'll see where those two teams play. We'll see if it will be Arizona, Houston in the Big 12. That would be my guess. Michigan and Ohio State are playing the Big Ten tournament. Michigan leads Ohio State 46-44. Michigan trying to win the Big Ten as they're number 3. And Illinois will play Wisconsin at 2:30. Players to watch out for: the local kid Adeshani Keaton Wagler and David McCorvick. The game begins at 2:30. Wisconsin versus Illinois. Best player for them is Nick Boyd for Wisconsin. We'll see what that game looks like. Other Big Ten games today: Purdue and Nebraska, 6:30. Nebraska keeps hoping for their first NCAA tournament win in a long time. Princeton Stafford is a player to watch out for Nebraska, and for Purdue, it's Braden Smith. That game tips at 6:30. And UCLA and Michigan finish off the 9 o'clock game. Big Ten Network, Michigan State, UCLA. Michigan State player to watch out for is Jeremy Fears, and Tyler Bialo is a player to watch out for UCLA. That game tips at 9. And for SALU is playing George Washington, they lead 77-69, late going, as they hope to advance and place their spot in the NCAA tournament. I think with this win, that would get them in. And more with me and Mal, and that is Sam Vaughn Sports. Also, Chiefs signed another running back, Emerja
Demercado.
As the T was over 1,000 yards, he hopes to add depth in the back of the Chiefs' backfield. We'll see if Kareem Hunt will still be around at the end of before this, or when the season starts. We'll see about him. To look at more up at the Chiefs, reach your future ESPN.com. Also, more NFL moves, ESPN.com. This is Sam Vaughn from Sam Sports Report.
Especially with the crime rate, I think a lot of that would, slowly go down.
How would we raise? First thing we gotta do is make the schools better, right?
I would say 100,000%. I think that Missouri needs to start looking into these school districts more. Look at who they have running the school districts and the teachers that they're hiring. And when it comes to special education, who all they have running those programs for special education. I feel like once you put the right people in the right places, then a lot of those stuff that the schools are having wouldn't be so problematic. And I think one of the issues is a lot of kids cannot afford to pay for their lunch, and that's another thing that needs to go away. Is paying for lunch. Why these kids got to pay to eat? Why must their parents take money out of their household to feed when their kid is going to school to learn? What is the student learning by having to pay for their lunch? And then if they don't have the money for their lunch, they don't get a lunch. A basic lunch that they would get will probably be a peanut butter jelly sandwich with a banana or something.
So did you know that? I like sports, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they're bringing sports betting into, or one of the reasons, is because it's going to go to schools. So the idea is that if people bet on sports, some of that money goes to public schools.
Are we sure that's where the money's going to go?
Supposed to.
Because a lot of times they say the money's supposed to be going to the schools and all these different things, but there's no paper trail. There's no evidence or anything presenting okay, this is where the actual money is going. This is how the money is handled. There's just a lot of questions with the school districts on how they're handling things. And I think the biggest thing is the finance department. These schools should have programs where if these students are not able to afford to get their school supplies or school clothes or whatever they're needing for school, the school should have some kind of program that families can sign up for so that their child or children can get those necessities that they need for school. And it's just the ball has been dropped somewhere with the government, everything with the education department, and then our local departments. There's so many layers to everything. It's hard to tell who dropped the ball. And it's there's a big miscommunication. I feel like they need to all get together and communicate how to make these things better, because if you want a kid to be able to want to come to school and want to learn, you gotta get their attention. A lot of these kids don't come from homes where, they get up and have, the best life. Some of these kids are struggling where their parents are struggling to keep the lights on, struggling to put food on the table. Some of these kids don't eat for days. And it's just like, when a kid is not coming to school from a happy place, that affects how their day-to-day is. It is like, take the time to learn these students, learn what their situation is, and see how you can help the student and their families.
And you would think because